Hi there guys, Darren Stevenson back with another video, and today we're going to talk about what I think will be the best 5 decks that could potentially win the upcoming YCSs this weekend. I believe it's YCS Ghent and YCS Niagara, both in Europe and North America. So there's will be some big events to come. And we've seen that the past couple of regionals that have been happening in the past couple of weeks really shaping up the meta now. So we've got a good idea as to what we think the representation is going to be like, what people are going to play, and what we think is going to take over the YCS this weekend. So let's get down to it. So these are the top 5 decks that I think that could win the YCS this weekend. Number 5, Pendulum. I think Pendulum is still really strong. It's really good because it's like a combo deck. It's unfair. It can make a lot of strong turn 1 plays. It's very simple. Everything's like a scale, so you play a big engine. Like, it's a lot of the time it's really difficult to break, and you can just pendulum summon. Your first turn board's like a seal. You can get to play the LP package with dragons because you play Dark Worm, and that Dark Worm itself generates advantage. So because more cards in your hand the better, because with Pendulum you have to play with your whole hand. You play cards like Apex Avian, which are really strong, that you can hard draw and stuff, that you can summon, and then you can have a negate as well. And they've also got cards like Jackal as well, which they can summon with their engine, with the Endymion engine, if you choose to go down that route, which is really strong because those cards in particular mean that you can combo off and also negate Nibiru, which is a really I imagine it's going to be quite popular, as we've seen in quite other deck lists. It's really scary. It's been putting people off wanting to play a combo at all because that card is just such a blowout. But Pendulum having the benefit of being able to summon Avian and Jackal before they even get to their first summon is really strong. And also they can also end on Abyss Dweller, which is something that I really like, because I think Dweller's really strong across the board because it beats decks like Salamun, Great Orcas, and even Thunder as well. Shutting off that graveyard is just really strong, on top of being able to summon something like Seal and Hot Red, which I think is just really strong. You can't really play hand traps in the deck, in the main deck, and Sidon's a bit weird because with Pendulum you do need your whole hand to play. And if you overside and go second, it's going to be really hard to push in the boards, and you really do struggle to go second anyway. So that's why That's why it's definitely not high in number 5. Because I think going second it can struggle, but I think it can be a deck that could just, if it wins enough dice rolls, it's going to take the whole event. And number 4, Thunder Dragons. So there's been a couple of Thunder Dragons cropping up, quite a lot in the past couple of regionals, and I think it's still really good. It's despite the hits, and people have been going off combo because of Nibiru and more tailoring the decks towards the pure Thunder Dragon variant, which we've seen early last year. And I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I think this format's getting really grindy. People are scared to play combo decks, so you want to play a deck that can have a nice back and forth with the other control decks. And you play a big Thunder engine as opposed to a small one like Hombo did, and you can end on Colossus and Titan, which is really strong because Colossus can beat Striker. It can beat Salamun Great as well in certain hands, and it's just a really solid big body to have, and it's really good in the mirror. You have Titan for your disruption as well, and I think people want to play it because they have the luxury of playing hand traps like Phantasma, Ash, and other stuff like that. And I think people just want to opt to play hand traps so they don't, if they do play a combo matchup, they don't want to just lose if they lose the dice roll. But a lot other than that, I think the combo variant will still be seen as well. I think people will still want to play the combo version because it can be ignorant of Nibiru and just go. You can be ignorant of Nibiru rather and just go with the first turn board. I think if you play the August package as well, you can play Dingirsu, Counter Trap, Seal, Hot Red, take card out of the hand, which is really strong. Then they have to play 5 cards into your board if they haven't already used hand traps, and the deck's still quite good at just pushing through hand traps, because they've got that the Crusadia package that can use Magius and then LP, and then just there's a lot of points where you have to stop them, and then after that, if you haven't stopped them, then not only have you wasted a hand trap, they took a card out your hand, so you have to play through that board with 4 cards now, and it just gets harder and harder. Issue is, I don't think either deck is pretty free of Nibiru. You can make a really conservative play with Thunder Dragon and just put the Thunder Dragon fusion in the graveyard and then just end on Colossus or Titan Pass. But I just think that's really underwhelming, especially if you are playing against a combo deck and then you've just sided Nibiru, then it's just really weird. And I just don't want to go Colossus Pass and then play against Striker and then go Widow Anchor, and it's just well I could have ended on double Colossus, but I was too scared of Nibiru. So I think that you've just got to be well, fuck it. If they have it, they have it. But if you think like that, then maybe you should play the combo version. But I don't know. Yeah, but one thing that's good about Pure is just a constant recursion back to back, because you got Thunder Dragon Fusion, which you can search your other engines, so you can keep going. Duo as well is much better in Pure because you use it more of a way to generate advantage. Whereas if like the board for combo just gets outed, then you don't really have much of a follow up because your extra deck's just gone. Number 3, Salamun Great. I think Salamun Great, like, contrary to popular belief, is still really good. It's weird because Circle and Gazelle are like at 1 and stuff, so you feel like the deck's just sort of dead, but it's really not. Like the deck is still like really solid. It can make like a lot of plays without hard drawn Gazelle or Silent Mining because you can go into Stalio to get your Gazelle. It's really good because I think it has like no bad matchups at all. It's just like really solid against like everything. And like I mentioned before about how Dweller's being really strong, you can end on Dweller a lot of the time, and I think Dweller can be just an auto win against like things like Orcas and stuff like that. And it just doesn't really care about Nibiru either, which is like really good. Because like if you're really scared of Nibiru, then like I think a lot of the time if you do take a combo deck, Nibiru will just hurt you. But like when I played Salamun Great and tested and I got Nibiru, it just didn't matter because you got like Spinny, Yugioh and stuff already set up in grave. So on the following turn, if you have some form of disruptions because you play like hand traps and you've even got like rage and stuff like that, like not raw, but if you went for the rage option and you've other defensive cards that you might play, depending on how heavy you want to build your deck with traps and stuff, then the brew just doesn't hurt you at all. As long as you just stay alive, then the deck can just push into pretty much anything post turn 1 because it has its set up, it has a lot of pushes, and it can be really overwhelming to deal with. Like you have to kill it, you have to end it then and then, or it's just going to kill you the following turn. Number 2, Sky Striker. I think Sky Striker's engine is still one of the most ridiculous engines as far as the control deck is concerned. It's just really dumb. Like it's just crazy how it can go from being a fair deck just to an unfair deck like so quickly, just when it gets its stuff going and starts drawing off engage back to back, and it just can be a lot to deal with. It can be really overwhelming, and like once it gets to that point, you just can't come back from it because it's just got so many cards, and it's just really difficult to kill, really difficult to get over like its link monsters because of like the floaty ray and stuff. Now that it has Kiner as well, they can block attacks, and multi-roll's just so good. Like I thought multi-roll going to 1 meant that the deck was probably over, but the fact that like you're forced to like deal with that multi-roll, and once you've dealt with that multi-roll, you're probably in a good position. But a lot of the time they just play Protect the Castle with their multi-roll, so if you don't deal with their multi-roll, they just set back all their resources, and then when it's their turn, they just generate so much advantage that you just can't keep up with anymore. It's just crazy. And it's really strong against like Salamun Great because they have an inbuilt Call by the Grave of Shark Cannon, so like if they're playing against Salamun Great, they can just banish the resources with Shark Cannon. They can also do that against combo decks as well. So they've just got a lot of utility, a lot of removal. If you go in second with Sky Striker, you've got like so much utility and removal, like I said before, that you just don't care about going second against anything because you can just out any board because you've just got so much in your arsenal that just like breaks boards and then just sets up advantage. It just takes cards away from people. Going first doesn't care either because it just gets engaged, and going second it just takes cards away from you, so it's just really strong. And it also just doesn't get Nibiru'd, and like who want I'd like to enter an event and not have to worry about that stupid card in all honesty, because like, oh god, it's rough. And what I think is most likely to take the winning spot at YCS Ghent or Niagara, purely on representation alone, I've seen in the past couple of regionals, this deck in particular has been represented very well, and that's Orcas. Now Orcas is really cool because it's an engine that you can splash in pretty much anything, because as you can see from the memes, you can pretty much make Orcas combo of any 2 monsters, and it's just crazy. So that means you can just splash it in anything, and just like like I said with Thunder Crusadia before, if your Thunder stuff gets stopped, then you just make a half decent Orcas combo and just end on Crescendo Ding Galatea, which could just be enough a lot of the time. And you can just use your Orcas engine to just make back-to-back plays. You can recycle it with Dingirsu. You can send like Gizmek off Nightmare as well, and Gizmek can apply a lot of pressure, so it just makes the deck like really strong. And there's different variants of it, so you can play it pure, so you can go first and just set up like Topologic and the gang and Babel and Crescendo, or you can go second and just play a lot of the really ignorant stuff like Instant Fusion, Shadow Fusion, and just break and crack boards and just kill people if you just so confident your deck can crack any board. And a lot of the time it can. It's just really strong. It's nuts how it can just like go second and just not care, and not even play any hand traps as well. It's just not bothered because it's just so strong, because yeah, each individual card makes an Orcas play. So you're like playing into maybe a Thunder Crusadia board with like, if they rip a card out of your hand, let's say you play 4 or 5 cards that you've got just to crack their board, because each card that they play is a scary thing that they have to disrupt or negate. And then the other 2 variants that have been cropping up, one particular in North America has been Cyber Dragon Orcas, which I think is really cool. It's not scared of Nibiru because you go Nova to bait it, and if you Nibiru the Nova, then they just summon Mechabus, so you can continue your Orcas combo because you've got an extra monster with Nibiru with the token in Mechaba, or you just sit on Mechaba because it's a negate in itself. If they don't Nibiru the Nova, then they just summon Infinity, and that's just another negate. Then they continue with the Orcas combo. It's really cool. And Cyber Dragon have their own theme counter traps. So you end on both Crescendo and the counter trap, and dealing with one counter trap was hard enough. And then a variant that's been cropping up a lot in Europe that's quite popular is the Lunalight version. And Lunalight Orcas I think is pretty cool because, like I mentioned before, with Pendulum and Salamun great, being able to make Dweller is just like super strong, especially if you're playing a mirror match, an Orcas mirror match. If you can make Dweller, then you're probably going to win because you can use all your resources in the following turn to kill them, and they have to make a really subpar board because they can't use their Orcas engine. So the hand has to be really specific in order to deal with Dweller, and not only that, but also your board as well. Like people often like do like curious stuff to like set floodgates as well with Griffin. And then that means you end on a Floodgate and Abyss Dweller. So you can do stuff like Eradicator, Summon Limit, Imperial Order. And it has really good coverage because the Dweller beats the combo decks, and the Floodgates you can use to beat the control decks. Like with Imperial Order Eradicator, it's just really dumb. And I think it's just really cool. And it OTKs out of its arse, and it has an Armageddon Knight that sends for cost. And thanks for watching, guys. I think, like I say, Orcas is #1 purely on representation alone. I think just because so many people are going to play Orcas, I think that's why it's going to probably win the event. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What do you think is going to win the event? What are you going to take to the event? Just let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you guys later.